I don't really remember when, but probably some night at midnight in the office on 34th Street. We're talking and we realized when you look at the data, and we collected so much data, that it started to come up like a fingerprint. Same pattern every time.
A lot of people like to say fingerprint. Well, this was, remnant dust was, you would see some variation within the dust, but there were some predominant factors or indicators that were unique to the dust.
That powder contained lead, because lead is used in a lot of, at that time, computer components. Wasn't used much in paint anymore. Contained arsenic, you just name the chemical, asbestos, PCBs, dioxins, all of these chemicals that were part of the materials that were originally put into the building, but they hadn't been burned up.
We saw a lot of unusual things at times in the microscope, and in regular situations when you would be looking at an abatement project, the fibers that you looked at would be normal mineralogical samples, but in this situation these were burnt, and there was times where the fibers that you looked at were actually charred, and so it was a completely different looking type of fiber. Even the crystallography of the fiber changed.
Another part that we did also to evaluate that is we went through and sampled other buildings that weren't impacted. What are the normal constituents of dust? And compared and contrasted that. We looked at, I believe, 7 different buildings from 3 different cities in order to assemble some information in order to compare to what's normal dust versus the constituents of this dust.
And then you had to figure out how to consolidate all that data to something somebody like you could understand. Somebody like the agencies, somebody like the concerned homeowner could understand. And so the term signature was coined because it represented the characteristic pattern, in this case, of elements, toxins, and materials that were always present and were never seen anywhere else in the world, in my opinion, but were found in the World Trade Center. When you could reduce all the complexity of the science down to a pattern and say, if you see that, you got dust. If you don't see that, you're clean. We got so that we could go in, collect a very few samples, and immediately see the signature. So in a sense, your operators or your technical people all became pattern recognition people. Very much only chemically, with each element representing a different tool, a different method, a different material, but very much like your signature.
The one thing that I think that we can good, and we've really gotten pretty decent at, is be able to react and then apply scientific principles and instrumental analysis techniques to try to bring that problem into perspective, bring the micro and then take it up to the macro and relay what it means.
We needed to develop the signature in a manner that was both irrefutable and credible. All those processes that we put together to accomplish that are now used routinely in all kinds of projects, because it's that same business. Every project is in some way unique. And so now we always look for a signature. And that's part of the sort of industrial forensics. Okay? It's your DNA, it's your CSI look that engages people and is intrinsically interesting.